guys, how's it going? It's Janie over here at JaniesSweets. Welcome back to another Friday Fixes episode where you ask me your cake questions and I do my best to answer them for you. Now, today's episode is inspired by a DM that I received. I asked you guys on Instagram, what would you like for me to talk about for my next Friday's Fixes? And this one kind of struck home. The person wanted to know, how do I overcome the hurdles of baking from home? Because it is such a unique business. There's no really blueprint for it. Everybody's just kind of hush hush doing everything on the side. So it's really hard to grow. It seems like it's really hard to grow. Building a clientele takes so much time, and that person was feeling discouraged and was saying that they're about ready to give up. And how did I continue going even though I didn't see any clients and clients weren't pouring in right at first? So this definitely hit home because this is something that I struggled with right at the beginning, and then again just now because I moved and I have no clients here. I moved hours away from where I used to live before, so I have no clients here. I just kind of had to start all over from scratch. But the first thing that I do have to say is that if you understand your why, you will want to work harder. Your why is what's gonna keep you at it and motivated even when times get hard, even when you have no clients. If you know why you're doing this, it's just all going to make sense. Like I said before, if you haven't seen my 5 mistakes to avoid when starting a bakery business, I will link it for you guys below. But what I did say is, don't underestimate how hard this business is. And I really meant it. It is very, very hard. You work long hours. You're normally not paid for the overtime hours that you're doing. So if you don't have a why, you're not going to continue. You're not going to want to keep going. My why at the beginning was that I just genuinely enjoyed it. It was a pastime for me. It was a hobby for me. Then my why changed to I didn't want to work for a person or a company anymore. I wanted to kind of have my own thing. And then just recently it changed again to wanting to leave a legacy behind for my children, you know, either my son or my daughter or both, whichever one wants to take over it. Because if you've seen the Cake Boss, Buddy actually inherited the bakery from his father. Now, don't quote me on that. He may have bought it from him. I don't know. But anyway, the bakery belonged to his father before, you know, it then belonged to him. And that is something that I would love to be able to do for my children should they want it later on in life. The next thing that I want to focus on is to make sure that you understand that quality is better than quantity. You don't necessarily want to keep pumping out cakes left and right all the time. In the beginning, it's very tempting to take any order that you get, but trust me when I tell you, don't make that mistake. You definitely want to only take the orders that you actually want to work on. This may be controversial to a lot of people, and they might tell you that, well, you need to start somewhere. That is true, but you don't want to be categorized or grouped into a niche that you necessarily don't want to be in. I had a consultation with someone who was telling me, well, I want to make wedding cakes. That's my passion. That's my goal. Should I start making random everyday celebration cakes? And I was like, well, do you want to make celebration cakes? Because remember, this is your business. If you're working 9 to 5 for a job that you absolutely hate, why would you turn your passion into something that you hate? I always told my husband, who was my then boyfriend, he was like, why don't you do this for a living? Why don't you do this for a living? I told him, well, the minute that this becomes my living, I no longer am going to enjoy it. Until I realized that why is that? That was because I was making cakes that I wasn't actually wanting to make, that I wasn't actually enjoying to make. So I grouped myself and I niched myself into a specific category that I didn't want to be at. Don't make that mistake. Make sure that you are making cakes that you definitely enjoy making. That's not to say that you can never take any order that's not what you want. However, you need to just be careful. Another thing that I want you to understand is that Rome was not built in one day. That is such a cliche statement. However, it is true. It took me years, at least 4 to 5 years, I want to say, before I ever sold one cake to anybody. And then from there, I kind of took off. It's almost like when you're, you know, doing a YouTube video, a lot of times people tell you like, I've been making videos for 5, 6, 7 years before one video went viral and then it took off. The same concept applies here. If you are willing to put in the work, trust me, it will come. Build it and they will come. Just have faith that this is going to work out. I promise you it will. Just be very, very patient and diligent, and everything will work out. The next thing I want to point out is that you do not need to compare yourself to other people. I know it's very tempting to look at the baker down the street and say, oh my gosh, they're having so many clients and so many this and so many that. And I fell into that trap and that comparison. When you compare yourself too much to your competition, you end up losing sight of what it is that makes you different and makes you in demand. Focus on yourself. Stop worrying about what everybody else is doing, because at the end of the day, you don't know how hard they work to get to where they are. You only see the final result. They might have been busting their behinds for years and years and years, way before you started noticing them in the first place. So don't think that just because they are where you want to be, that they must have had some magic pill that took them there. They probably worked really, really hard to get to where they are. So don't compare yourself. Your success is not their success. And trust me, I promise you this, when you are gonna blow up, a lot of people are gonna look at you and be like, oh my gosh, you are where I wanna be. Believe me, I in a million years would have never imagined people asking me, DMing me, messaging me, emailing me questions about baking when I was the one doing that just a couple of years ago. So trust me, your journey is yours and only yours, and you cannot compare yourself to anybody else, because at the end of the day, their path is not going to be yours. The last point that I want to make is to have faith. Just have faith that this is going to work out. Is this something that you want, or is it not? If it is something that you want, what's the option? What other choice do you have but to make it work? So just hang tight, have faith. If you are someone who believes in God, pray about it. I am truly an advocate for vision boards or dream boards or prayer boards, because they really do work. I have an awesome video of me making my vision board for my business this year, and you know, if you have faith and you believe it will happen, it will happen. So there you go, you guys. These are my tips on how to keep going even when the going gets tough. I really do hope you've enjoyed it and you found value on all these tips that I just shared with you guys. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. And as always, subscribe to my channel so that you do not miss out on any of my future videos. I love you guys. I'll talk to you later.